Good morning, philosophers. Another day. I'm a little more sick today than I was yesterday, but we are good. Let's get into it. And by Zeus, Meletus, tell us also whether it is better for a man to live among good or wicked fellow citizens. Answer, my good man, for I am not asking a difficult question. Do not the wicked do some harm to those who are ever closest to them, whereas good people benefit them? Certainly. And does the man exist who would rather be harmed than benefited by his associates? Answer, my good sir, for the law orders you to answer. Is there any man who wants to be harmed? Of course not. Come now, do you accuse me here of corrupting the young and making them worse deliberately or unwillingly? Deliberately. What follows, Meletus? Are you so much wiser at your age than I am at mine that you understand that wicked people always do some harm to their closest neighbors, while good people do them good? But I have reached such a pitch of ignorance that I do not realize this? Namely, that if I make one of my associates wicked, I run the risk of being harmed by him, so that I do such a great evil deliberately, as you say. I do not believe you, Meletus, and I do not think anyone else will. Either I do not corrupt the young, or, if I do, it is unwillingly, and you are lying in either case. Now, if I corrupt them unwillingly, the law does not require you to bring people to court for such unwilling wrongdoings, but to get hold of them privately, to instruct them and exhort them. For clearly, if I learn better, I shall cease to do what I'm doing unwillingly. You, however, have avoided my company and were unwilling to instruct me, but you bring me here, where the law requires one to bring those who are in need of punishment, not instruction. And so, men of Athens, what I said is clearly true. Meletus has never been at all concerned with these matters. Nonetheless, tell us, Meletus, how you say that I corrupt the young. Or is it obvious from your deposition that it is by teaching them not to believe in the gods in whom the city believes, but in other new spiritual things? Is this not what you say I teach, and so corrupt them? That is most certainly what I do say, said Meletus. Then, by those very gods about whom we are talking, Meletus, make this clearer to me and to these men. I cannot be sure whether you mean that I teach the belief that there are some gods, and therefore I myself believe that there are gods and am not altogether an atheist, nor am I guilty of that. Not, however, the gods in whom the city believes, but others, and that this is the charge against me, that they are others. Or whether you mean that I do not believe in gods at all, and that this is what I teach to others. This is what I mean, that you do not believe in gods at all. Oh, that was Meletus. He says, this is what I mean, that you do not believe in gods at all. You are a strange fellow, Meletus. Why do you say this? Do I not believe as other men do that the sun and the moon are gods? Meletus. No, by Zeus, gentlemen of the jury, for he says that the sun is stone and the moon earth. Socrates. My dear Meletus, do you think you are prosecuting Anaxagoras? Are you so contemptuous of these men and think them so ignorant of the letters as not to know that the books of Anaxagoras of Clazomene are full of those theories, and further that the young men learn from me what they can buy from time to time for a drachma at most in the bookshops, and ridicule Socrates if he pretends that these theories are his own, especially as they are so absurd? Is that, by Zeus, what you think of me, Meletus, that I do not believe that there are any gods? That is what I say. Meletus says, that is what I say, that you do not believe in the gods at all. Imagine being prosecuted for your alleged atheism. Wow. You cannot be believed, Meletus, even I think by yourself. The man appears to me, men of Athens, highly insolent and uncontrolled. He seems to have made this deposition out of insolence, violence, and youthful zeal. He is like one who composed a riddle and is trying it out. Quote, "Will the wise Socrates realize that I'm jesting and contradicting myself, or shall I deceive him and others?" I think he contradicts himself in the affidavit, as if he said, quote, "Socrates is guilty of not believing in gods, but believing in gods." And surely that is the part of a jester. Examine with me, gentlemen, how he appears to contradict himself, and you, Meletus, answer us. Remember, gentlemen, what I asked you when I began, not to create a disturbance if I proceed in my usual manner. Does any man, Meletus, have... excuse me, sorry for the sniffles. Does any man, Meletus, believe in human activities who does not believe in humans? Make him answer, and not again and again create a disturbance. Does any man who does not believe in horses believe in horsemen's activities? Or in flute-playing activities, but not in flute players? No, my good sir, no man could. If you are not willing to answer, I will tell you and these men. Answer the next question, however. Does any man believe in spiritual activities who does not believe in spirits? Meletus, no one. Socrates, thank you for answering, if reluctantly, when these gentlemen made you. Now you say that I believe in spiritual things and teach about them, whether new or old, but at any rate spiritual things according to what you say, and to this you have sworn in your deposition. But if I believe in spiritual things, I must quite inevitably believe in spirits. Is that not so? It is indeed. I shall assume that you agree, as you do not answer. Do we not believe spirits to be either gods or the children of gods, yes or no? Meletus, of course. Socrates, then since I do believe in spirits, as you admit, if spirits are gods, this is what I mean when I say you speak in riddles and in jest, as you state that I do not believe in gods, and then again that I do, since I do believe in spirits. If, on the other hand, the spirits are children of the gods, bastard children of the gods by nymphs or some other mothers, as they are said to be, what man would believe children of the gods to exist but not gods? That would be just as absurd as to believe the young of horses and asses, namely mules, to exist but not to believe in the existence of horses and asses. You must have made this deposition, Meletus, either to test us, or because you were at a loss to find any true wrongdoing of which to accuse me. There is no way in which you could persuade anyone of even small intelligence that it is possible for one and the same man to believe in spiritual, but not also in divine things, and then again for that same man to believe neither in spirits, nor in gods, nor in heroes. I do not think, men of Athens, that it requires a prolonged defense to prove that I am not guilty of the charges in Meletus's deposition, but this is sufficient. On the other hand, you know that what I said earlier is true, that I am very unpopular with many people. This will be my undoing, if I am undone, not Meletus or Anytus, but the slanders and envy of many people. This has destroyed many other good men, and will, I think, continue to do so. There is no danger that it will stop at me. Someone might say, are you not ashamed, Socrates, to have followed the kind of occupation that has led to your being now in danger of death? However, I should be right to reply to him. You are wrong, sir, if you think that a man who is any good at all should take into account the risk of life or death. He should look to this only in his actions, whether what he does is right or wrong, whether he is acting like a good or a bad man. Let me read that again. Someone might say, are you not ashamed, Socrates, to have followed the kind of occupation that has led to your being now in danger of death? However, I should be right to reply to him. You are wrong, sir, if you think that a man who is any good at all should take into account the risk of life or death. He should look to this only in his actions, whether what he does is right or wrong, whether he is acting like a good or a bad man. That's good stuff. According to your view, all the heroes who died at Troy were inferior people, especially the son of Thetis, who was so contemptuous of danger compared with disgrace. When he was eager to kill Hector, his goddess mother warned him, as I believe, in some such words as these: "My child, if you avenge the death of your comrade, Patroclus, and you kill Hector, you will die yourself, for your death is to follow immediately after Hector's." Hearing this, he despised death and danger, and was much more afraid to live a coward who did not avenge his friends. "Let me die at once," he said, "when once I have given the wrongdoer his deserts, rather than remain here a laughing-stock by the curved ships, a burden upon the earth." Do you think he gave thought to the death and danger? This is the truth of the matter, men of Athens. Wherever a man has taken a position that he believes to be best or has been placed by his commander, there he must, I think, remain and face danger, without a thought for death or anything else, rather than disgrace. This is really good. It would have been a dreadful way to behave, men of Athens, if at Potidaea, Amphipolis, oh my God, I'm sorry. It would have been a dreadful way to behave, men of Athens, if at Potidaea, Amphipolis, and Delium, I had, at the risk of death, like anyone else, remained at my post where those you had elected to command had ordered me, and then, when the god ordered me as I thought and believed, to live the life of a philosopher, to examine myself and others, I had abandoned my post for fear of death or anything else. That would have been a dreadful thing, and then I might truly have justly been brought here for not believing that there are gods, disobeying the oracle, fearing death, and thinking I was wise when I was not. To fear death, gentlemen, is no other than to think oneself wise when one is not, to think one knows what one does not know. No one knows whether death may not be the greatest of all blessings for a man, yet men fear it as if they knew that it is the greatest of evils. And surely it is the most blameworthy ignorance to believe that one knows what one does not know. It is perhaps on this point, and in this respect, gentlemen, that I differ from the majority of men. If I were to claim that I am wiser than anyone in anything, it would be in this: that, as I have no adequate knowledge of things in the underworld, so I do not think I have. I do know, however, that it is wicked and shameful to do wrong, to disobey one's superior, be he god or man. I shall never fear or avoid things of which I do not know, whether they may not be good rather than things that I know to be bad. Even if you acquitted me now and did not believe Anytus, who said to you that either I should not have been brought here in the first place, or that now I am here, you cannot avoid executing me, for if I should be acquitted, your sons would practice the teachings of Socrates, and all be thoroughly corrupted. If you said to me in this regard, Socrates, we do not believe Anytus now, we acquit you, but only on condition that you spend no more time on this investigation, and do not practice philosophy, and if you are caught doing so, you will die. If, as I say, you were to acquit me on those terms, I would say to you, men of Athens, I am grateful, and I am your friend. But I will obey the god rather than you, and as long as I draw breath and am able, I shall not cease to practice philosophy, to exhort you, and in my usual way to point out to any one of you whom I happen to meet, good sir, you are an Athenian, a citizen of the greatest city with the greatest reputation for both wisdom and power. Are you not ashamed of your eagerness to possess as much wealth, reputation, and honors as possible, while you do not care for nor give thought to wisdom or truth, or the best possible state of your soul? Then, if one of you disputes this and says he does care, I shall not let him go at once or leave him, but I shall question him, examine him, and test him. And if I do not think he has attained the goodness that he says he has, I shall reproach him, because he attaches little importance to the most important things and greater importance to inferior things. All right, we will leave it there. There's there's definitely some stuff worth writing down in there. I will do that shortly. Guys, this is kind of a repeat theme, but I'm just telling you what I'm thinking about. And if I think about the same thing multiple days in a row, so be it. Man, excuse me. What I wrote down to think about today is a small quote. Actually, I don't even know who said it. You do not have to be who you were yesterday. And that kind of folds into what the previous month, the month of March's sort of mantra, which is you are what you repeatedly do. Excellence is a habit. So if we want to change who we are, we don't do that by merely declaring that we're going to be different. And I'm not going to act like that anymore. I'm not going to react like that anymore. Next time I'm in that situation, I'm just going to be different. Well, that's not enough. That doesn't work. That's not how human brains work, and that's not how we change. It's important to sort of wake up and realize the method of changing your behavior is not declaring that next time you will do something different. In fact, that might be the absolute wrong way. That might be the way to make sure that you behave the same way next time. Because if you think merely declaring that you will act differently is enough to do it, then you won't take any actions. You'll think you've already solved the problem. You'll think that you're protected. You'll think that you're a different person, when in fact nothing has changed. So you won't do any extra work to actually change. So you're pretty much guaranteeing that you're probably going to react exactly the same next time. The way we change is by thinking about what has already happened, like actually really thinking through it, figuring out what caused us to react in the way we did. Then thinking about those causes, working through them in advance, picturing the next time the thing will happen to us. Spend time thinking about the next time and how you're specifically going to behave and what you're specifically going to do next time that thing happens, or the next time you have the desire to do that thing or behave in that way. You'll already know why, so you'll be looking for the triggers, and you'll already have a plan of what to do in that situation. Even if the plan is just merely to take a breath and take 5 and think about what's going on. Like, if that's all you do, that's amazing. That's a great catch-all. So I have a catch-all for anger. Anytime I start getting irrationally angry, I have like a catch-all routine in my brain where I just excuse myself from whatever situation it is, or I take a deep breath, or I just pause for 10, 15, 20 seconds and just let there be silence while I compose myself and take a deep breath. Things like that. Like actual plans are in place to modify behavior. And then to make long-term change, you have to make these things habits. You have to make like the introspection, the retrospective thought, and the prospective thought. You have to make those habits that you do all the time, because that's how you change who you are. Because you are your habits. That's what I'm thinking about today. All right, guys. I'm going to go take some medicine. Have a great day.